Hello, everybody, and welcome to the What Have You Been Up To podcast. My name is Isaac. I'm joined, of course, by my co-host, Nick. And Nick, kicking things off here, I have but one question for you, and that is, what have you been up to, man?
Ooh, I've been up to many things, Isaac. One of the main highlights of my past few weeks is I have done what a large swathe of the population has been doing, and I went and watched the Barbie movie. It was very good. Few observations, Isaac, along the way. First of all, most packed I've ever seen the cinema. Ever.
Oh, Nick. So for reference here, one of the things that I've done recently is I kind of went with the opposite side of this coin, right? There's been this cultural coin that's been flipped recently, colloquially known as Barbenheimer, and I've been to see the movie Oppenheimer. But when I went, the cinema was packed, but fuller than I've ever seen it, and there is a distinctive set of characteristics. Like, you can walk in, and I think potentially with maybe 85% accuracy, maybe even 95% accuracy, I could determine which movie which people were going to see based on just how they were, right?
Yeah.
But the cinema was so packed. There were so many people there to see the Barbie movie. It was madness. But go on, what did you think, man?
It was crazy, yeah. And so I went to an Everyman Cinema, which, for people who don't know, is I believe, UK-based cinema chain where they focus on more comfortable seating, slightly smaller screens, and the best bit is they serve food and drinks to your seats after the movie has started, which is really good. So there was no Oppenheimer showing when we turned up, and that was clear because 65% of people there were dressed in pink, right? Yeah. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
And they had the Barbie box as well, which I've seen everywhere.
Wow.
I've seen that in more places than just cinemas recently. I've seen it in shopping centers. I've seen it in train stations. So they've got the Barbie box and people are like getting in it, getting their pictures taken.
So they didn't have one at the cinema I went to, which I found surprising. But I read recently, man, they spent more money on the advertising for this film than they spent on the film itself, which does not surprise me. I have seen it's everywhere. It is absolutely everywhere. You cannot miss it. It's absolute madness, man.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And I kind of want to know how effective that marketing is, right? I want to know how much they've made back out of it. I assume they're in profit quite easily
it's
already.
Past $1 billion, right?
Yeah, right. That would surprise me. It's wild. So we went in, everyone was in pink. It was so busy that the cinema had to stop taking drinks orders and food orders.
Wow.
So we turned up, I won't lie, we turned up 5 to 10 minutes after the film technically started, right? After the showtime. The film didn't actually start for another 20 minutes after that. But we turned up. There was already a queue outside the screen room for drinks. So you go out, you enter the cinema, you place your drinks and food orders outside, and then you say your seat number/seat numbers, and then they take it to you after you sit down and the movie starts. They were just like, sorry, we're literally so busy. We've never seen it like this. We've just had to stop.
I mean, so I'm not surprised because I feel like over the last 5 years, there's been this pretty stark decline in the amount of people just going to the cinema. Every time I go, it is dead. There's not like anybody there. They've got like way too many staff and nobody's doing anything, and it's just empty. You go sit in a cinema that's got like 200 seats and there's like 4 people. And so I'm really not surprised that they were not prepared for how big the Barbie movie was going to be.
Not at all. So that was it was good to see though, actually. And then went in, movie eventually started. Pretty much every seat was taken that I could see. I was quite impressed as well with the demographic. It was like 45% males, which I wasn't expecting.
Well, that's the thing that I noticed when I went to see Oppenheimer is that, like, it was more couples than I've ever seen in my life go to the cinema. Like, more young couples, I should say, than I've ever seen in my life go to the cinema. But yeah,
it was very evenly matched. So that was quite fun as an observation. Few other things, right? First of all, props to Everyman Cinema. my ears didn't get blown off. We've talked previously about the sound levels in cinemas, right?
Yeah.
And I've had so many people telling me to go and watch Oppenheimer in IMAX, right? But I know, and you can answer this, that will just be so loud.
So I went to the cinema, right? I went to watch it in Showcase, call it X Plus, which is not the same as IMAX. IMAX is like a taller aspect ratio. X Plus doesn't have that. But the screening that I went to said X Plus, and then in brackets it said with Dolby Atmos, right? And they had two different showings. They had a regular X Plus, and then they had later they had the Dolby Atmos version. I was like, all right, I'll go watch the Dolby Atmos version, I guess. It was the same price. And I went to watch it, man, and for the most part, the movie sounds great. It was very loud, but I think cinemas do themselves a disservice sometimes by playing it just a bit too loud for their sound system. The one that I listened to, it a couple of times you could just hear it kind of clip, it just peaked a little bit over what the sound system was capable of doing, and it just really, it grinds my gears, man. I do not like it at all. You'd have hated it though. It was so loud.
Oh my, because I can't believe they peaked the cinema sound system.
It was not good, man. It was a bit too loud.
That's already so loud.
Yeah. I don't know if it was the room just wasn't treated well enough for the level of volume they were going for or what, but it did not sound good. A few times. A couple times when it got real loud.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, I will keep that in mind when I go to watch it. I definitely will not be watching it in Dolby Atmos for the sake of my soul and sanity.
Are you going to watch it with your... You're going to put your Bluetooth earphones in and turn noise cancelling on and then watch it?
Yeah. Right, exactly. It's like when we went to Minecon 8 years ago and it was so bloody loud in that bloody room. I put my noise cancelling earphones on, turned it on.
I actually hear people recommending the newer AirPods have a safety feature where they lower loud sounds. And so I actually hear people recommending for heavy metal concerts and stuff, just actually putting in your AirPods and limiting the sound that gets played back to you. And so you don't get the hearing damage that comes along with. I don't know if that's medically accurate or not, but
that's the thing, right? Because I've seen people say that before, but I have a feeling that in terms of your actual ear health, it's not good to turn noise cancelling on when you do that. Sure. It's better to have it just the entire system off. Yeah. Because I think it tries to play opposing sound waves, right?
Yeah.
But because at the end of the day, there's then additive sets of sound waves that are going towards your ear that are supposedly subtracting each other out. But I think in terms of actual quantity, there's so much going to your ears that it's better to, don't hold me on that, but I think it might be better to have that completely flat. But I get it, because I do it even at home. If there's construction going on and stuff like that, earphones in, the neighbors are being annoying, the earphones in, stuff like that. So I completely understand that. And it's an interesting, I was going to say, it's an interesting, cultural thing that's increasing in popularity, right? Seeing people with earphones in things like concerts and stuff. You think they're ignoring it, right?
Right. I mean,
but yeah.
I do think the way that the Apple ones work is it's not in noise cancelling mode, it's just in pass-through mode. It limits the loud sounds. That's how Apple advertise it anyway. They show someone walking down a street and there's someone with a drill doing the super loud. And the AirPods in real time show it going up to 90 decibels and bringing it down to a safe, green level. And so I'd be interested to see if there's actually any scientific backing to the claim that that's helpful to your ears in any way.
Interesting.
But
okay.
I don't know.
Maybe. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. I mean, I'll do it anyway. So, I mean, whether it's accurate or not.
You've just seen Nick in the cinema with his AirPod Maxes over the top.
Yeah, right. I'm wearing my ear defenders. Oh, dear. Yeah, I think you can get ear defenders that have a jack on them so you can actually plug it into devices. I need one of those, man, for the cinema, honestly. It'd be unbelievable. So, well done, everyman. Props to not having it too loud. Screen wasn't too massive, which was also good. Which is that a thing.
Is that a plus? You prefer a smaller screen?
I think I do. Yeah. I'm a bit weird like that. I understand why bigger screens have more appeal, but I'm there and I'm looking at my little 70-inch TV screen at the front of the cinema, and I'm like, oh, this is lovely, dear.
Big enough for me.
Yeah, it's big enough. That'll do. Oh,
I have. Oh, go on.
I was going to say, not too long. The film was only 1 hour and 45 minutes long.
It's a short movie, yeah.
Plus, right? And it was very enjoyable. I enjoyed it a lot. It didn't take itself too seriously, and Will Ferrell was in it, which is always a plus. He is. He's the Mattel CEO, Isaac, in the movie. There's a spoiler for everybody. But yes, it was good. Props.
I can confirm that the same was not true for Oppenheimer. So I really liked Oppenheimer. I thought it's a good film.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about it, I think, a little bit recently. But I had recently seen Mission Impossible as well, the new one, despite having never seen a previous Mission Impossible movie. But to me, the Mission Impossible movie felt longer. I felt like Oppenheimer wasn't that long of a movie. I really enjoyed it. But I'd gone with my girlfriend, and after the fact, she was like, that movie felt like it was 700 years long. She felt like it never ended. She didn't enjoy it as much as I did.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think she'd probably be in the Barbie camp of enjoying the shorter runtime on that movie as opposed to Oppenheimer's 3 hour, 182 minute epic length.
Oh, it's so long. It's long.
Very long.
I'm going to watch it in a couple of weeks, so I'll be able to get back with my observations when we do the episode after I go and watch it. But I've heard, I don't know if you concur with this or if this is what your girlfriend thought, but the last hour is supposedly the hour where it starts to feel like a drag. I don't know if you had sensed this in any capacity.
It depends what you're expecting from the movie, right?
Because
the movie is like a biopic, right? It's about Oppenheimer. It's not about the atomic bomb, right? And so obviously it's kind of about both, right? Because that's a big part of his life. He helped develop it. But if you're there for the Oppenheimer story, then I don't think you feel that way. If you're here to watch the build-up and then the dropping of the bomb, and then that's it, then at the 2-hour mark, you're going to be like, okay, they've spoiler alert, they've dropped the bomb. Then after that, you're going to be annoyed because like it does have another hour after that, right?
Right.
Which, if you're into the character development and the people involved, it is interesting, I think. But if you're not into that, then, I did hear some people complaining that the explosions weren't like cool or loud enough when they were leaving the cinema. And I was
Michael Bay didn't direct it.
Exactly, right? They were expecting a Michael Bay movie. And so it depends on what your expectations are going in, I think, as to what you... and I don't think my girlfriend had any. I think I was like, this is supposed to be a good movie, let's go see it. And she's like, yeah, fine, whatever, we'll go watch a movie. And it wasn't for her,
I see.
It's a long, very dialogue-heavy movie, right? There's just a lot of talking, there's a lot of, information, and it's not very spectacle, I would say.
I understand. Right, okay, well, that's very interesting. So, yeah, I went to see Barbie with my girlfriend, and that was her side. That was her influence. And so I'm reversing that for Oppenheimer. So we will see how we both independently observe that one, but I am very much looking forward to it. So it's a recommend from you, Isaac.
It is, yeah, I liked it. I think it's a good movie.
Very good, very good. And then it's a recommend from me for Barbie. We didn't know what to expect either. We had absolutely no idea. At the beginning, they're in the so-called Barbie world, right? In this like fantasy Barbie universe. And Ryan Gosling and name escapes me. Come on.
Her name is
famous.
She's
actress.
Like Australian. She is blonde hair.
I can't believe
she's been everywhere in the news.
It. She's everywhere. It's one of those situations.
It's Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie. They did. I can't believe that just happened.
Such a disservice. Sorry, Margot, if you're watching.
sorry. I am sorry, Margot, on personal terms. They did very good jobs of acting like NPCs effectively. They were like smiling uncomfortably, like as their characters, right? And I was like, oh my God, is the whole movie going to be like this? Where they're like pretending to be in this Barbie world and they're just doing like Barbie stories. Spoiler alert, it's not like that. Very soon afterwards, I was comforted in the fact that they broke out of that, which was great. But I'll let people who have not seen it yet observe and make their own assumptions after watching it. And I'll say no more on that. But yes, cinemas are busier than ever, and it is nice to see. And
Oppenheimer was packed, man. I went to see it on the weekend after it came out. It was so big. It was That was on like the biggest screen they had. It was bloody massive, and they sold every single seat. It was madness.
Jeez.
People sat in the front like seats where you got to, crane your neck 180 degrees, to see anything. But it was packed, man. Absolute madness.
That's interesting. Well, I'm gonna go see it in, I think, probably a week today. So it will have had a good 3 weeks from release, right? So we'll see how busy it is then, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is still fairly busy. And I am going on like a Monday afternoon,
While on the topic of movies, man, I also watched another movie this week. I watched for the first time, I don't know if you've seen this movie, Nick, hotly anticipated movie of last year, I think. I watched the Mario movie over the weekend.
Did you?
I did.
No way. Oh my God, please tell. Please tell.
Nick, I'm not gonna lie. I think that Oppenheimer and the Mario movie might be the most like antithetical movies you'll ever see. They're the opposite ends of the scale in every possible way. Amazing. It's well animated, and it does a good job of referencing the game. But I don't think it's a very good movie. I think it's kind of a bad movie.
Oh no!
I don't like
Chris Pratt. Works his ass off for that one, Isaac.
Nothing about the actors. Nothing about Chris Pratt is great as Mario. He does a good job. I think all the voice actors do. It's just there's just no plot at all. There's no story to the movie at all. Like none. There's just like, and I get it. It's a children's movie, but like. And it's enjoyable, if you're not thinking about any of it. But right. I mean, and again, the benefit, it's short. It's an hour and a half. So
okay, that is good. That is good. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. So what you actually observed from the Mario movie was what I was worried about when I went to watch the Barbie movie. Yeah. Okay. I see. I watched another movie just at home recently. I watched the Lego movie too, which I actually did see in cinemas when it came out like 4 years ago. I wanted to watch it again, and I don't know what it was, man, about watching it at home versus watching it in the cinema. It didn't hit. Didn't hit like it did when we went to the cinema. No,
that's also Chris Pratt, right?
Oh, I don't know. I think maybe it is. I don't think I paid attention. Let's have a look. Lego Movie 2. I'm gonna
in the Lego movie.
Yeah, okay. It is good. Chris Pratt with the
voice acting, man.
With the voice acting of the animated characters. There you go.
Yeah, no, he's all over it. Yeah, like,
what a legend.
Like I said, the animation on the Mario movie really good, and the music was really good as well. They did a fantastic job of like utilizing. If you're listening to the music, which I was, because there was nothing to listen to in terms of dialogue that was any good. I was. Listening to the music, they do a fantastic job of kind of like, it's got like an original track, but they merge in like elements of the Mario soundtrack into the music that's playing, and it sounds really good. It's very well done. I can tell they put a lot of work into it. It's just, the story is non-existent.
He's slating it. I wonder what it's got on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm gonna have a look. Mario movie, Rotten Tomatoes. Have a guess, Isaac. What do you think it's got?
Critics or audience? Audience. I bet it's got like a 91 or something. With critics 64.
Ooh, 59.
Yeah, close. No, it's not great, man.
The critics thought it was worse than you did then.
I don't think it's a 64. I think that they I was trying to guess their rating comparatively.
Right. So you're underestimating.
I might give it a 5. Like I'm never gonna watch it again. But like it's fine,
Okay, interesting. Cinema or at home, Isaac?
The Mario movie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I watched it at home.
Oh,
I think it came out a year ago, man.
Maybe that was it, like me and the Lego movie. Maybe it would have been a 64 if you watched it in the cinemas, Isaac, from you.
Oh, it was from April, so it's this year. It's the Mario movie. Interesting.
Oh, goodness. They were banging on about it early then.
Yeah, no, it's been out for a while, man.
Putting those trailers out like last year, right? It's for me, so. Mario.
Yeah, because it sounded like. There was the whole thing about Chris Pratt doing Mario, and everyone was like, "That makes no sense." But no.
Does he have an American accent, Isaac?
Yes, no, he does have an American accent.
Nice.
There's like a thing at the beginning. They kind of play on it where it starts, and he does like it starts with Mario and Luigi creating an advert for their plumbing service, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they are the Mario brothers. And they're like American Italians, right? And so the whole thing, the movie starts in Brooklyn, New York, and the whole movie starts with this ad. And in the ad, they're talking like, Yahoo, it's a me. You know, they're doing the voice, right? And
I didn't realize you were Chris Pratt, Isaac.
That's why I didn't like it, man. But then after the ad finishes, Mario and Luigi are like, so hey, what did you think of? You know, I mean, they're talking like Chris
right,
Pratt,
right.
Charlie Day, I think it is, who plays Luigi,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just talking normally. And then they're asking like, do you think the voices are offensive? And you know, it's a whole thing. So they don't talk like that all the way through, unfortunately.
I've just clocked, right? They're called the Mario Brothers, right?
Yes.
So does that mean Mario's name is Mario?
That is exactly
Luigi's
his name, yes.
Is Luigi Mario.
That is correct.
No way.
Yep, it's Mario, and Luigi Mario.
That is fantastic.
At least according to the movie, pretty unsuccessful plumbers.
Yeah, it's because they get into the pipes, man. I mean, if a plumber came to my house and if he ripped my toilet out and got into the sewage pipe, I would give him a terrible review. Oh dear. Okay, lots of movie watching then.
Yeah,
lots of movie watching.
Not a recommendation on the Mario movie.
Okay,
definitely a recommendation on Oppenheimer though, depending on what kind of movies you're into.
Very good, very good. Isaac, what else have you been up to?
Nick, I've been up to a lot of stuff, man. So you and I have been creating content on the internet for a while, and we're often accused, I would say, somewhat unfairly, of stealthily producing a food podcast and pretending it's not a food podcast, right? And so I'm hesitant to talk about my food woes or my food endeavors over the past week or so, but I have to mention it. I've had many food endeavors. So the other day I had a revelation, my friend, about chili powder, right? I was in the kitchen and I was going to make some enchiladas, right? Homemade enchilada sauce. Nick, I recently found a new recipe for enchilada sauce a few weeks ago that is fantastic. It's lovely. I love it. I've had it way too many times over the past few weeks. Incredible. Enchilada sauce, as it turns out, mostly just chili powder, right? This recipe that I don't know if you ever made enchilada sauce.
Never.
Nick, let me read you a quick list of ingredients to this enchilada sauce.
Okay.
Right? And you'll see what I mean about it being just basically chili powder, right? I'll click jump to recipe here. So the ingredients are 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. You create like a pseudo roux with the oil and the flour. 3 tablespoons of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of dried oregano, chicken stock, tomato sauce, salt, pepper, and then optional apple cider vinegar, which I do add, and it is very tasty. Nice. That recipe, by the way, comes courtesy of Preppy Kitchen. I do recommend their enchilada sauce. I think it's very tasty. Anyway, so 3 tablespoons of chili powder, and it says in like italics next to it, adjust down for a milder sauce. Now, I don't know about you, man. I am a fan of spicy food, right? I like food that is spicy, but not spicy for the sake of being spicy.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, agreed.
I'm not, if I go out for like a curry or something, I'll get whatever comes standard, but I'm not going to like purposefully order a vindaloo to try and maximize my pain during the meal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm all about a bit of spice in my meal. I think it's nice. So I go to the supermarket and we had chili powder in the cupboard, right? And we had this right here from M&S, which if you're not watching the video version of this, is just me holding up a little tin of what says hot chili powder from M&S. All right?
Nice.
And then I also had in the cupboard mild chili powder from Sainsburys. Okay? So I go to make the enchiladas and I use my hot chili powder. And I think, you know what? I'll see how it is. I can always, dilute the sauce or something or change it up. So I put the full 3 tablespoons of hot chili powder into my enchilada recipe, Nick, and it is beautiful. Fantastic. Delicious. Great. Not too spicy. Nice little bit of spice that I like. Nothing crazy. My girlfriend thinks it's too spicy, but she's got a lower spice threshold, right?
Right.
All good. Next time comes around, and it turns out 3 tablespoons is a lot of chili powder. And in UK supermarkets, you get these tiny little, this is a 43-gram jar, which is, you're not going to get many lots of 3 tablespoons out of here. No. If you're trying to make sauce. So I go to make it again, and this time I use like a mix. I use the like 1 tablespoon of hot and 2 tablespoons of mild, right? And it's great. Tastes nice. It's a lot milder. My girlfriend likes it more. All is good, right? So now I'm becoming an enchilada fiend, right? And I love these chicken enchiladas. And so I'm like, I am going to buy some more chili powder, right? But where do I buy bulk chili powder? Why do I buy a bigger bag of chili powder? I go to the Sainsburys, man, and I find this thing right here. For those, again, watching in the audio format, I have with me a giant bag of chili powder, right?
Nice.
It is massive.
There we go. Look at that. That's what the restaurants use.
And so it was like £4.50, which is a bargain compared to the price of these, which are, it's like a kilogram, right? And these are like £1 for 40 grams. Anyway, this is when the revelation hits, Nick, because I take this just says chili powder, right? I take 3 tablespoons of it. I make the standard enchilada sauce, Nick, and it might be the spiciest food I've ever eaten. I was dying. I didn't even make the enchiladas. I tasted the enchilada sauce with a teaspoon out of the pan, and I was like almost in tears. It was so spicy that it is unbelievable. And my girlfriend refused to try it, so I ended up doubling the recipe. Like I made another batch of it without the chili powder to kind of mild it down, and even then it was spicy. And so now I've got a massive batch of enchilada sauce in my fridge that I don't need. But anyway, the revelation, Nick, is what? Do you know what's in chili powder?
I don't. I know that there are various types of chili powder, like Kashmiri chili powder and mild and hot. But go on.
My assumption was that chili powder was chilies powdered, right? You could dry a chili, powder it down. That
Red chilies, you'd expect, right? Yeah, just ground up. Yeah.
And that is exactly what this giant bag is. This giant bag is chilies that have been ground down and into powdered form, dried and ground. It turns out, man, if you buy in the supermarket stuff, that's not what it is.
Oh.
This, or at least not entirely, this quote-unquote hot chili powder from M&S is 83% chili powder. And then the following ingredients are salt, ground cumin, dried garlic, dried oregano, chili flavoring, and anti-caking agent. And then following that up, the mild chili powder actually has a higher percentage of chili powder. It's 93% chili powder with cumin, garlic, and oregano. And I did not know that chili powder wasn't like, imagine if you went to buy salt and instead of having salt in it, it also had garlic in there. That's not, I was under the assumption that chili powder was an ingredient, but then I Googled it and apparently it's just like a name that is given to like a category of like spice blend as well. It can either be a spice blend or an ingredient, which
I was going to say it's effectively a seasoning. Right. It's effectively a seasoning. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. That's very interesting. I was expecting you to be like the mild one actually is 93% chili powder, which is a higher content, but the other 7% was sugar to really, to really mild it down for people.
Yeah, 93% chili powder and 7% milk powder.
We need to sell that, right? Yeah. So when it all gets hydrated in your mouth, it cuts instantly. That's a good idea. We'll have to do some lab testing, right? I'll get some chili powder and I'll cut it with milk powder.
We'll do extra mild chili powder. Go on, what's that?
That means that your 1 kilo bag of chili powder is even better value.
It is,
because you don't have to use as much of it as you do the other stuff. Interesting.
Yeah. No, it's incredible. I was not expecting it.
Was that in the world food section then? Was that in like the international section? Yeah. Right, I see. That's honestly some bargains in there, man. You go there, you get the big rice bags as well, like the 10-kilo rice bags.
Yeah,
always
big old
worth
bags
getting.
of nuts as well. They sell nuts and seeds, like giant bags of them. Yeah, no, There's a really left field thing that I get as well. It's like, it's in the international section, and I assume maybe it is from America, but it's like American fried chicken seasoning. Oh. And I always buy really big jars of those, and I use it as like a universal seasoning when I'm doing minced meat dishes, right? So usually if I'm forming like patties for breakfast burgers or making mince for breakfast burritos, which I like to meal prep every couple of weeks, just 2 massive heaped tablespoons of that, boom. Apart from salt, that's your seasoning done. It's well good. But I always like browsing the world's food section. You see all these like really weird like drinks as well. You see like other alternative forms of beers and stuff like that. Like there's a Guinness that I always see that's like only available in some parts of Africa, I think it is. Yeah. I kind of want to try it. I might get one to see what that's like just for scientific purposes. But that's always very interesting. But I should have a look because I've got 2 types of chili powder. I've probably got Sainsbury's chili powder, and then I've got another one which is just
chili powder my mum gave me, which I assume is more closer towards what you have in that bag.
I would assume that your Sainsbury's chili powder is going to have, cumin, garlic, oregano in.
Yeah.
Whereas your mum's chili powder is probably just going to be chili powder, ground chili.
Straight up, yeah. Which explains a lot now when it comes to recipes I've used and the chili powder amounts looking far too high compared to what I'm used to. Right. But now that makes a lot of sense because there's been so many recipes where I've cut it, right? I've cut the amount they've told me.
That's the thing. This quote-unquote hot chili powder from M&S is not hot. It's not spicy at all. It's like the mildest powder you've ever... And like to smell it, it almost smells like paprika, man. It doesn't smell of much at all.
No way.
It is surprisingly not very mild. And so I have a feeling it depends on what chilies you use. I imagine that these guys are using less potent chilies, whereas these guys over here are probably finding the spiciest chilies they can, money can lay their hands on, and using that for their giant bags of chili powder. But I was not ready for that, man. I was not ready.
Very interesting.
But it's also it makes it impossible to know, though. In that case, what kind of chili powder a recipe's calling for, right?
Right.
So like I do have to use the less chili powder for my enchiladas, but I do think the enchiladas taste better with the less spicy chili powder, probably because it's adding more cumin, garlic, oregano, and salt to the mix, right? So do I have to like manually tame down the chili powder and add in even more salt, cumin, dried garlic, and oregano to my enchilada sauce to match what I was getting with the hot chili powder, quote unquote? Right.
Here's what you need to do, right? You need to buy those ingredients. So
in bulk, massive bags of them.
In bulk. And what you need to do is you then need to toss them in your bag with your full fat chili powder. And then you need to shake it to create your own large blend
of hot chili powder.
Of hot chili powder, right? That's the game. So you buy one big bag of garlic powder, one little tin of paprika, one little jar of oregano, dump a load of salt in there, and then just toss it, right? Toss the crap out of that bag, seal it up, and toss it. And when you get a nice, you like taste it, right? Like it's a soupy substance in a pan. You're like, a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. And when you get it just right, then you'll have like 1.4 kilos of chili powder blend that will probably last you until the 2030s.
At least a few weeks worth of enchiladas.
At least another 2 batches of your enchilada sauce. Oh, enchilada sauce is not something that I've ever considered, right? Just a sauce for enchiladas.
Like a few weeks ago, man, it also is something that I had never considered either. I watch a fair bit of like cooking on YouTube, like it just kind of for pleasure, right? I'll just watch. There's a couple of channels I subscribe to, and I just watch them make content. And sometimes you get recommended other videos, and you click on them. And I saw this enchilada video. I was like, oh yeah, I'll give it a look. And I feel like in the UK, a lot of quote unquote enchiladas are just made with like packets, or like they'll have like a tin sauce or something. And it's usually just like a tomato sauce, right?
It's kits, right? You get them in all the kits.
Yeah. And so, I'd never really been a huge fan, but I made the homemade enchilada sauce, and it was fantastic, man. It was really, really good. I would recommend giving it a try.
I want to put that in my internal list. My next two dishes of the week will be fish cakes and ramen. But I'll add that one. That one. Go on.
To make the chicken enchiladas, you have to shred the chicken, or at least the recipe I was following shredded the chicken, right? So it wasn't like chicken pieces, it was shredded chicken. And I hate shredding chicken with a passion. Shredding any meat, like getting 2 forks and having to spend like 300 hours, like sat there trying to shred chicken apart. Absolute menace, Nick. But turns out, hack unlocked from Googling and finding it. I just put it in my KitchenAid mixer, man. I stick it, cook the chicken, whack it in there with the little paddle on it, turn it on, and it just shreds the chicken up, man.
That is
surprisingly small period of time.
That is a revelation. I slow cooked some pork a few weeks ago, and it took me, I kid you not, 1 hour.
Yeah.
Because it was this fat thing.
It's like a 2
2
kilo.
forks, 1 hour. And later, I mean, it gave me food for like a week and a half.
Yeah.
But it was so annoying.
So tedious,
my
right?
arms hurt as well. My forearms.
I'm telling you, man. It was horrible. I've done the same thing. I've cooked like barbecue pork, like a pork shoulder or something, and slow cooked it. And it's horrendous. But yeah, no, you can just like whack it in the KitchenAid, man. And it just shreds it up real nicely, actually. Surprisingly good. You don't end up with any big lumps either, which is nice. I've done it every time since.
I wonder if you can blend it. Can you blend it?
Well, that's the first thing my girlfriend suggested was just blending it, just sticking it in the blender. Right? And like, maybe the thing with the KitchenAid is it's got like adjustable. I don't know if you've got a KitchenAid, like the mixer. I don't. Stand mixer. All right. But like, it's got like an adjustable 0 to 8 thing. And the one that I used was like a paddle. So it's like almost a triangle shape with like lines in it, but it's none of it's sharp, right? It's all just like plastic. And so you can kind of put it on, and it just kind of mixes it and kind of like starts agitating it. And so you end up with a nice shredded chicken. Whereas if you blended it, it would probably turn into a powdery state. I think you get it too fine. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be. It wouldn't have that kind of stringy texture that shredded chicken has.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. You can get choppers as well. I don't know if you've seen those. They're like little stubby blenders. They're like this high, and they're called choppers. And you just open them, and the people use them for onions and peppers and salads and stuff like that. And you put your stuff in, and you just push it down. And there's a little sensor when you push it down. It's just psh, psh, and you just pulse it basically to chop whatever's going in it. I wonder if that would be any better for chicken, because I do have one of those, but I've not used it in years. Which is also funny because every time I actually chop anything, I always think, oh, well, I wish I could use the chop. I'll always start chopping something and then be like, oh, I should have used the chopper. And then next time I will just chop it manually again. So yeah, that's my experience. But no, that's very interesting. I will keep that in mind. Especially with a stand mixer. Can you use a hand mixer, do you reckon? I've got a hand mixer.
That was one of the recommendations, was just a hand mixer. So yeah, I think it probably would work, Ben. You do it on like a lower setting and just...
Yeah. Okay. That maybe I'll try that then, because I do have a hand mixer, which I got recently, and it goes up to it goes in settings from 1 to 8, right? Yep. And anything above 1 is
max speed.
Insane. It's so fast. Anything more than 1, stuff is flying out of the bowl. Yeah. Right? Which is quite funny. I'm like, what are people using the higher settings for? It's got a turbo button as well. So if you push that, it will temporarily put it at 8. Right. And so we got this mixer a couple of weeks ago, and I was making cupcakes, I think. And I was like, and it was mixing everything together. And I was just like, nah, this is too slow. So I put it up to 8. And like half the mix just came out of the bowl. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. You got powder all over the kitchen.
Right. Flour everywhere. Yeah. It was crazy. But you do see some. I did notice when I was looking for these, there were some where they were hand mixers, but they came with their own bowl that had a cover on it that was then had 2 little holes in that you could put the whisks through. So you could effectively whisk it in an enclosed space and have a lower risk of mess, right? I don't know why I didn't get one of those. I think it's because I was like, but then how do I move the mixer around, right? Yeah. That was what was missing. I was like, the whisks are only going to stay in one place. So I mentioned that I went to Sainsburys recently, Isaac, and I was searching through the world food section, as I usually do. And the most recent time I went, I experienced something annoying, shall we say, jarring. So recently, if you live in the UK, you will have noticed that seemingly over the last 4 months, every single supermarket has jumped on this loyalty card hype train where they have a certain price that they will charge you for a certain good. However, if you have the specific supermarket's loyalty card and you scan it on checkout, it will charge you a lower price for these specific products. And there will be 2 prices for lots of things. You want to say something, God? I
do, yeah. I have a conspiracy theory here, Nick, and I think that so I dislike these. I dislike the loyalty card schemes, right? I don't want to have to sign up and track my shopping in order to get the discounted price. The thing is, I think what they've done, right? Because some supermarkets used to do this, where it'd be you could scan and you could save some money, but it would be very small, right?
Yeah.
It'd be like your eggs are normally £2.19 for a 6-pack, and now they're, £2 or, £2.10. So like really small little savings, right? That maybe add up to a few pounds at the end of the shop. These days, it is insane, man. You'll walk past, I went to Sainsburys. That's where I got the chili powder from, the big bag of it. I went to Sainsburys, and like, it'd be like a block of cheese, and it'd be like £4.50 without the Nectar card, which is Sainsburys' name for their scheme, or £2.50 with it, which is like half price. And so my conspiracy theory here, Nick, is that the supermarkets have all seen, they've all decided to grasp this opportunity that is inflation, right? Prices have gone up, 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 and now they've come down, but instead of offering those lower prices to everybody, instead you say, hey, we'll do you a favor. If you sign up to our card, we'll be so generous as to give you this much lower price. Because many times, man, I have gone to Sainsbury's, I've gone to buy like butter or something, and Lurpak's like £37 a tub.
Right.
And then I'll go and discounted down to £3 if you're a Nectar member. I'll go to Morrison's, it's just £3. It's the same price as the Nectar price at Sainsbury's, but just I don't have to have a card, man. And so my conspiracy there is that Sainsbury's are profiteering off of the current economic situation, which is probably
Yeah. Well, I think the watchdogs have warned all these supermarkets about this because I think they're starting to clock onto it. And there's all these tactics such as putting different measurements with the regular price and the loyalty card price in terms of like so for one price they'll say it costs this much per gram, but then in the other price they'll say it costs this much per 100 grams or per milliliter or something like that, right, depending on what it is.
I hate it, man. I try and compare, I try to be a savvy shopper, but sometimes you'll go and you'll be looking at like tissues, right? And there'll be the name brand tissues, which are Kleenex, right? And then there's like regular tissues. And the thing is, I'll be trying to compare, and the Kleenex one will be like, oh, it's 1.1 pence per tissue. And then like the non-brand one will be like, oh, it's 4.8 pence per 100 grams. And I'm like, that's not helpful. Like, how many, what kind of mental gymnastics do I need to go through here so how many tissues are in the box, and are they the same size? And it tells you the square, like the total area of each tissue. So you're like, okay, these ones are slightly bigger. So if we divide, and I'm like, I don't have 25 minutes in the supermarket to get out my whiteboard and start calculating the cost per square foot, we need, factoring in different ply depth, and like I just, but yeah, no, you are right, man. Anyway,
it's terrible.
I assume you have a Nectar card, Nick.
I do
from Sainsbury's. So yes,
I've always had one. I've had one for years, and the reason I had it was because when I was at university, me and all my housemates would do like a big Sainsbury's shop together, right? Yep. And then I'd usually pay for it, and then everyone would transfer me however much they owed in terms of what they'd actually bought for themselves.
And you charge them the non-Nectar card prices, and
of course. Fortunately, this was in 2019, 18, 19, 20, before all of this BS came in, right? Which was great, and it also meant that I just racked up loads of points, and then I could redeem. See, because I was the organizer, I could redeem these Nectar points when I went and filled up on fuel and stuff like that, and get a little bit of money off, which was great. So I've always had one. So Tesco is the pioneer of this model, it seems, in the UK, right? They're the ones that are the most famous for this. It's the club card. And I never had one of those. I got one like a year ago, and I think I used it twice. And then after that, I think I just rely on being with someone who has one if I happen to find myself in a Tesco, right? Yeah. I don't have any of the other ones, but because Sainsbury's used a kind of a IP that they're partnered with or that they already own, and they decided that their loyalty card would be the Nectar card. Because I already had one, I was like, oh, okay, cool, well, that's fine. I usually shop at Sainsbury's anyway, and I've got a Nectar card, so I might as well just use it. At the beginning, when they started to introduce this and there started to become Nectar prices, I went in and like half the shop was purple because they were doing a big promotion for this. It was ridiculous. And I held strong at the beginning. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not giving them all of my data. I'm just gonna buy all the stuff that doesn't have two prices, right?
Yeah.
But then very quickly I realized that like my favorite crisps were like £1, £3 for a sharing bag.
Yep.
No card, £2 with one, or £1.50 with one. So I was like, There's a
But the thing is
33 to 50% difference here.
The non-nectar prices are prices that no sane human would pay for these products.
Right?
It's like no one's paying £3.50 for a sharing bag of Doritos or whatever. Like, it's madness. It's actual insanity.
It's terrible. It's so bad. It's so bad. So anyway, and then I started using it. I was like, whatever. But what they've started doing is at checkout, I always use the self-checkout. At checkout, the little printer will start vomiting all of these vouchers, right? And they try and get you. And they always say, oh, if you come back within a week and you spend £50, we'll give you £10 off, right? They're like, and then they do it every single week. Like, £7.50 off next time you come, £10 off next time you come if you use your Nectar card. So I was like, cool, whatever. That's fine. I usually tend to shop within 7 days of doing a previous shop anyway. So I was like, okay, whatever. I then found myself back in Sainsburys a week later, and I put these little vouchers in my wallet just in case I happen to shop within the next 7 days. So I was there last week, and I was like, right, game plan, right? I'm going to get my bill to as close as £50 as possible, which is the minimum threshold for this voucher to work, right? So I was like, great. And so I was buying different bits, and it was a pretty decent sized shop. I decided to go deliberately with some slightly more expensive brands than I usually would have, just to buffer the price up, right? Which maybe is part of the tactic, right?
Well, I think it is. I think a lot of people will say like, oh, I don't care, they can have my data if I save some money. I don't think you do. I don't think you do. I don't think people realize the level of like psychological
manipulation
trickery that it's so easy to fall down to. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
People are like, oh, I'm not addicted to social media, as they spend like 9 hours a day somehow of screen on time. Do you know what I mean? You don't think about it, but they get you with the little, oh, you know, if you come back within 5 days, we'll give you £50, £10 off. But you weren't going to spend that money. Like, they get you in these little ways. Oh, you know, why don't you spend an extra 25p because you can get the name brand one as opposed to buying the non-name brand one, but you're saving £4 when you're not really saving any money. But I don't think it's worth it.
The whole model is supposed to make people think that it's their decision, right?
Oh, 100%.
When actually it isn't. So
like make them think that they're getting one over on the supermarket when...
Exactly. Well, yeah, well, in this case, they got one over on me, because I went to the checkout, £52. I was like, oh, fantastic. Now, you then press the little checkout button on these self-service machines, and you can then scan your voucher, right? But because of some recent scams, I think that people were trying to be pulling off, you have to get approval when you scan a voucher. Like, you scan it and there's the little thing flashes when it's like, we need someone to come and check this for you. Yep. And someone will actually come to you and they'll look at it and they'll put their little staff code in and they'll make you like throw it away in front of them so you can't reuse it, right? Which is fine. So this person came over, did this, great. £42. I bought quite a lot of stuff, so I was like, this is fantastic. And then I was like, oh, I need to scan my next card, right? I think you can see where this is going. I was like, oh, I need to scan my next card. I have a feeling this voucher may not work unless I actually use that, because part of the voucher conditions that were written on the voucher itself said, you know, you can only do this with a Nectar card, etc., etc. So I was on the checkout page. I could have tapped the pay with card button and it would have appeared on the point of the little card machine. But I was like, okay, well, let me just scan my Nectar card. Scanned it. And the price went up to £49.76.
Did you call someone over? Did you get that fixed?
So I called someone over, right? Okay. Because I was like, no, this is really bad.
So it's reverted to what the default discounted price would have been had you not had your special voucher.
Exactly, because what had happened was that it had lowered the price of my original receipt to below £50, to 24p below £50, right? Which then undid the voucher. It voided the voucher. So I was there, like realizing what's happened. And I was like, no, they've done me. They've got my data and they've done me here. So then I called someone over and I was like, hi, I've scanned this voucher and the scanned my Nectar cards, and then this price has gone down. This price has gone up, right? And they were like, oh, okay. And then they actually opened the machine up and then like pulled my voucher back out.
Yeah.
And they had a look and they were cool. And they were like, oh yeah, right. What's happened here is when you scanned your card, it's gone 26p or 24p below the threshold, right? And then they were like, they said, did you pay with cards? And I was like, yeah. And they kind of had a bit of a helpless look on their face, because I think if I actually paid with cash at that point, they might have been able to refund me on the spot. But then they said, oh no, basically what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to go to customer services. They explain to them what's happened. They'll give you a refund. Then buy something worth 24p or more, put it through again, and then go through the whole thing again. And I was there like, this
so
will
they were gonna refund your whole shop, but then you would have to go and scan all the items again.
Correct.
But this time with a bit more money spent.
With enough for it to remain above 50 quid.
Well, I don't understand why they didn't just give you the difference between, like, as if you'd not scanned the Nectar card.
Right? I know.
I'd assume.
It was.
So you just paid more. You got.
I just left Isaac with my tail between my legs. I was so sad because I was so close to not scanning my card. I was so close to just being like, to hell with it. I'll just get out of here for 42 quid.
I was with you in that I thought you had to scan your card, because one thing I've done before, Nick, that it turns out doesn't work, is I got shafted by this. I'd walked up to a checkout, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't have an Nectar card, but somebody who had a Nectar card had left their discount thing. Like, there's like a printer above the checkout that prints out your voucher. And so I saw a little voucher that was like, £5 off next time you spend £40 in store. And I was like, easy. I'll take this. Yeah. I'll scan it. I'll get £5 off. And I don't have to do anything. I don't have to have the card out. Take it, scan it. And it was like, and it goes to like a different screen. And it's like, please scan your Nectar card. And I'm like, I don't have it. And it wouldn't go away. I had to get someone over. No. I had to call somebody over and be like, I don't have a Nectar card. And they had to like cancel it and take the voucher off me because I didn't have it. It might have been like Morrison's where this happened, but I didn't have the like required loyalty scheme to sign in, so I couldn't actually use it, which was unfortunate.
I see. This is what I was expecting. This is why I actually scanned it in the end, because I was thinking, what if I go right to the end and then it's like, no, sorry, mate.
Because I thought they were individualized. Like, I thought you had to, like, it was only for you to use, right?
Apparently, but I have a feeling that it's a lot less advanced than that, at least at Sainsburys, which is why they require someone to come over to watch you throw it away, so that you simply can't use that again.
You'd think they just use a code that's like one-time use for you, right? And then like wipe it and like cycle it back for somebody else or something. Like you wouldn't just make it reusable. They'd just be like, oh no, this code's been used. It's done.
Exactly. So it was very bizarre. And I think basically the fault lied at the person who put my voucher through at the very beginning, because I think they're technically supposed to check that you've used your Nectar card in this case,
right,
before they actually approve your voucher's use. And then if I'd done that and I'd used my Nectar card first, I would have seen that the bill would have got underneath, and I would have ran to like the gum section that they have near the checkouts, right? I bought like a 50p pack of gum and then got someone to come over. So I think there was a multiple stage failure here, in that the person put it through when they technically shouldn't have. I scanned the voucher before I scanned my loyalty card, which I shouldn't have, because then I wouldn't have known if the bill would have been above the threshold or not. And then I think I paid it, right? I paid it off, and then and then it was too late.
Obviously, it's not in the interest of the supermarket to do this, but you would think that there'd be some kind of system that noticed that like when you scan your Nectar card, if the price goes up, there's like a little thing that pops up and it's like price with Nectar card, price without. Would you like to continue with or without? Right? That pops up and you can just click, oh, without. I don't want to pay the extra £7 or whatever it is, right? But obviously they're not going to do that. That's, they benefit from the... I imagine a lot of people are just going to be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to bother with that. I'll just pay the extra money and go home.
Exactly. So that's what I did. Yeah, you do see that with online shopping sometimes. If you put multiple discount codes in, it shows you all the different prices. Then it's like, oh no, this would give you this much off. This would give you this much off, and then you can select the one that applies the largest discount. So that made me honestly, I was sad all evening, man. I was meal prepping my breakfast burritos, just crying. I was just like, just depressed. my kitchen.
I don't blame you, man.
Oh,
that's
£7.
That's horrible. Yeah,
£7 in my data, Isaac, and my valuable shopping information, where I buy the same stuff every week, effectively. It was very sad. It was very sad. Isaac,
that's horrible.
What else have you discovered this week?
I would love to tell you what I've been up to, man. So earlier this week, right? I was up bright and early because I go to the gym bright and early. Right?
Yeah.
It was push day. I go 3 times a week, push, pull, legs. Nice. Basic stuff. So I'd got up early. It was maybe like 8:10, right? In the morning. And I'm sat on the couch in my living room with a bowl of cereal. I'm watching some TV, right? I'm watching The Office is what I'm watching, Nick. It's the episode where Jim throws a snowball at Dwight, and then Dwight spends the rest of the episode abusing Jim with snowballs to the point where Jim gets very angry about it. It's a good episode. Anyway, I'm sat on the couch. I'm fully ready to go, right? In my shorts and t-shirts, singular t-shirt, ready to go to the gym, right? Eating my granola.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend walks in, and she goes to get changed, right? She just got out of bed, and she's getting changed at the other side of the living room, right? While she's getting changed, Nick, I hear this sound come out of my TV system. I don't know if you heard that or not.
I did hear that. It's the screenshot sound.
I heard like this camera shutter sound effect, right? And my girlfriend kind of whips around like, what is happening? What is going on? I'm sat there with just holding my bowl of cereal, being like, I didn't do anything.
It wasn't me. Right? It wasn't me.
And then I'm like, I was like, okay. And it came out of, like, I've got a Sonos Arc, right? The soundbar under my TV. It comes out of the soundbar. And I'm like, oh. Like, I wonder. So the soundbar, for those who don't know, has the option to either have Alexa, or I shouldn't say Alexa because people are going to have their speakers triggered.
There it goes.
We're new to the whole podcasting thing. It's all right. To either have Amazon's smart speaker service or Google's smart speaker service, right? And so I have Amazon's set up. And so I'm like, hey, Amazon. Like, I'm trying to figure out what it is, right? So, like, then me and my girlfriend are sat there, because there's no camera built into the soundbar, right? And so I'm like, this makes no sense. And, like, my TV isn't one of those that has, like, a webcam out of the top or anything like that. There's no camera on the TV either. So we're both stood there confused, like, what in the world just happened, right? My TV remote's on the coffee table in front of me. Very confused. We're like, hey, Amazon, take screenshot, or Amazon, take photo. And she's like, I don't know how to do that. Please install the Amazon camera app to make this. And I'm like, okay, fine, that's not it. So we're like, that's a weird fluke. But it gives you that kind of eerie feeling that like someone's tapped into your sound system in some way, shape, or form, and it just hasn't muted it or whatever, right? And I'm like, okay, that's very weird. Anyway, so, we kind of forget about it for a second and we go back to doing it. And then again, it comes through. I hear it again. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? Like, I am so confused. So I pull up the Amazon, the Amazon Smart Assistant app, right? And I'm scrolling through the app, and it's got like a list of commands that were said to it, right? So I'm trying to figure out, like, has it misheard something that the TV said, or has it misheard something that I've said? And it's like thinking that I've asked it to take a photo or something. And so I'm looking through, and there's nothing there. There's only us asking it to do normal stuff, right? It's like me asking it to turn the lights on or something, and me asking it to, take a photo, and it doesn't know how to. Nothing there at all. So I'm like, what is going on? Right? And it happens like 2 more times, right? 2 more times we hear that sound effect, and I'm baffled at this point. I am like, can somebody hear us? Is somebody like, is this what is going on? I'm very confused. And I'm I leave, I go to the gym, and when I get home, I'm doing a lot more research into this. I'm like, this is creepy. This is very creepy. I'm concerned about what is going on here, man. And after a lot of soul searching, Nick, it turns out it's not a problem at all. Because it turns out that bizarrely, for some reason, who knows why, I use an Apple TV as my smart TV interface of choice. And apparently, it's one thing I like about the Apple TV is I don't have to use the Apple TV remote to control the Apple TV. My regular TV remote works through the Apple TV, right? I don't know how they pass the information back and forth, but it works. And so I just use my normal TV remote as a remote for the Apple TV. But in this scenario, the Apple TV remote had gotten stuck between the couch cushions. And so if you press and hold like the pause play button and like the volume up button, which are right next to each other at the same time for 5 seconds on the Apple TV, you get the screenshot sound. It doesn't show any visual indication that a screenshot has been taken. There's no like flash like it does on iOS. I don't even think it saves the photo because I go to the Photos app on the Apple TV and there's nothing there, but it makes the sound effect. And so yeah, just apparently, it was my big old butt that was sat on the couch cushion that was pushing against the 2 buttons on the Apple TV remote that was wedged between my couch cushions, and that was causing this camera shutter sound effect to play on repeat, which creeped me out, man. I was very much so not into that.
Oh my Lord, I'm not surprised. That's bad UX though, right? Because you'd expect there to be a little thing that says screenshot saved to da-da-da-da-da. And then you'd be like, oh, okay, that was weird.
On iOS, it does the little like flash, right? It's like flash screen to like, oh yeah, screenshot's taken. But I don't like, I can't imagine why anybody would want to take a screenshot of the TV.
What they're watching specifically,
I do wonder if the reason why it didn't actually take a screenshot is some kind of like DRM protection on like whatever TV viewing app I'm watching.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh no, you can't record or take a screenshot of Netflix or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And therefore we're just going to make the sound but not actually do anything. I don't know.
I think it might be because they're getting like really good at protecting against that. Like I've been watching stuff on Sky on my laptop, right? Because I've got the Sky Go app and I sign into my dad's account on my Sky Go, on his Sky Go on my laptop, and that's all great. And then I try and AirPlay the laptop screen to my TV, just goes grey immediately. The whole screen goes grey as soon as that happens. You have to plug it in via HDMI, otherwise that ain't working.
Yeah.
I then was in a completely separate situation, was watching a TV show on my laptop, and I was FaceTiming someone, and I tried to share my screen so that we could watch this show together, right? Grey, immediately. As soon as the call started, and I started sharing my screen, grey. And I was like, oh my God, they're getting good at this. Tried Zoom, same thing. Microsoft Teams worked. Shouldn't have said that because I've probably I'm helping plug my own loophole, right? But go on Microsoft Teams because that actually works. But I can't even beam stuff to my own other devices without the DRM protection kicking in, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if it is something to do with that. But that is a little bit bizarre because if you're watching if you're watching videos, motion-based content, taking a screenshot should be fine.
You'd think so, unless they're worried about someone like, I don't know, programming it in such a way that they can take 24 screenshots per second.
Yeah, maybe.
And then stitch those JPEGs together into a...
Can you imagine if you were sitting in the living room at 8 a.m. and you heard that sound 24 times per second? Because it goes on the
thing. It's not... I don't quite understand why they're so aggressive with the DRM, right?
Yeah.
If people want to record that, it's not hard to record that kind of stuff.
No,
right?
not at all.
I feel like the effort they go to is not worth the inconvenience they cause to the consumers sometimes, right? When the people who want to actually pirate that stuff, it's not difficult to do it, right?
They'll just torrent it, won't they? Or go on a dodgy website and that's it, sorted. So, I mean, you're right.
Even on my desktop, if I open Netflix and I've got OBS up and I can just record what's on there, it's not hard to do. You know, but anyway, no, we're not condoning piracy. The Nik Isaac
don't
Corporation
do it.
does not
Don't do
condone or encourage piracy in any way or any crimes at all. Don't do it. Pay for your
You're
services.
not allowed.
Yeah, you're not allowed. We've told you we're not allowed.
We've told you. Yeah, we're the police of the internet.
No, it was unsettling, man. And it was just the weird coincidence that my girlfriend happened to be getting changed at the same time that the first camera sound went off. And it was like, that is way too... Because I'd been sat there for a little while on my own, and it was fine. But it was the fact that it just happened at that time where it was like, that's eerie, that's creepy. What's happening?
You thought something was up. Yeah,
I expected like a dude to come out from behind the couch with his, DSLR that he'd been carrying around with him,
You got bigger privacy problems, man. You got someone in your house. you shifted, right? The Apple TV remote was there. You're like, oh, it was this Apple TV the whole time. You just had this little...
There's a dude in the corner, and every time I press and hold it for 5 seconds, he goes, takes his foot. He's like, got away with that one.
Oh dear, yeah.
Scurries out the door behind us.
He was there, like hacking into the Apple site and programming a support article and screenshotting on the Apple TV. So you'd be like, and then you'd be like, oh, I think there's this thing where you press this button on the remote. And he was like, oh. The timing was too close there, but I got away with it this time, boys. Oh dear. The biggest the biggest incidents of a privacy scare like that I've heard was one of my friends. They were talking about, they were in the car once. This was a very long time ago. And they had their mum was driving, and their mum had their phone on a little car dashboard holder with Google Maps on, right?
Yep.
As you do, you're using that to navigate. And this was an iPhone, bear in mind. And halfway through their journey, the screen of this iPhone just went black. And then this guy's face just popped up, like a live video feed. And he started speaking what they thought was Chinese through the phone.
Oh.
And when they were telling me about this, I was like, what?
Yeah.
This sounds insane. Like, this sounds like a serious
data breach
of this device, right? Like, it sounds like it's just completely done. Like, something completely beyond belief has happened, and there's been a complete breach of this phone. And they were like, yeah, no, it was really weird. But then after that, it was completely fine. And I was like, oh my God, if that was me, I'd throw that phone away. I'd be doing a hard reset. I'd probably sell it. I would not be comfortable using it ever again. But yeah, no, and so I'm not surprised you were scared about it. And stuff's been happening as well. Like, the amount of emails, sign-in attempts, and
I've been getting so many of them as well,
sign-in and attempts I've been getting, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I've got different passwords for everything. Like, what's going on? I've been changing passwords for stuff, and supposedly, these are one-time use passwords, but I don't know what's going on. So there's something afoot. So the fact that you're hearing camera shutter sounds in front of your TV, is fair enough why you got scared. And things make sounds all the time these days. I was visiting my parents yesterday, and their Amazon speaker was like making all these sounds. It was like, what was the sound it made? It made a certain sound, and it's to do with a notification in your Amazon app. And I only realized this afterwards. I was like, what's going on? The TV. So they've got a TV that's got an Android-based operating system, right? And that kept going boom, 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 boom. And I was like, what is that? And apparently it's the TV trying to notify the user that there's an update, right? So everything's bonging. Honestly, everything's bonging. Cars are really bad for it these days.
Yeah.
You've got a modern car and you veer out of your lane, or it thinks that you're approaching something like a parked car and it thinks you're going to go into it. It's like... Or my car just goes ding, and it's like, presets, you're going to crash. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just driving on a normal road at 30 miles an hour. It's there thinking I'm going to veer it into parked traffic. Yeah. It's, there's things bonging all over the place.
Mine does it anytime, like, it's got like parking sensors, right? But it constantly thinks things are around me when I'm not. You know what I mean? You'll be stood there and you'll be just waiting, you're at traffic, you've pulled up, and it'll just be like, and you're like, and you look at the little display in the middle, and it thinks there's like something right in front of you that you're about to smash into. And it's like, for one, I'm stationary. you know, the handbrake is on. Secondarily, there's nothing there. You're not, but yeah, no, it's, everything does it, man. Non-stop.
I've been experiencing that recently as well in my car. In fact, multiple cars that I drive have had this issue. I don't know what's going on. One of them is 5 years old, and the other one is 12 years old, and they're both from completely different manufacturers. Both within the last few months have picked up this issue where I'll just be driving normally or stationary in traffic, and then all of a sudden they'll just go, and I'm like, what? It happens more in the snow, and when when it's snowing, that's fair enough, right? Yeah. It's just clearly firing radars out and then getting it fired back off the white shiny surface of the ground, and then it's causing it to go haywire, which is fine. But it's been doing it recently when it's been sunny, so there's something going on there. I don't know what's happening. Are there more flying ants? In the
maybe more ghosts, man. Maybe
maybe that checks out. That checks out. To be fair, that checks out.
Oh, my car does the worst thing. I think I've mentioned this before to you, but I've not managed to fix it, and it drives me insane constantly. I never use the radio in my car, never once ever. I don't use it. Right, I use Bluetooth right constantly. I'll put my phone on. I'll play Spotify, and I'll drive. But for some reason, my car thinks that I need traffic updates from the radio every time, every single time. So I'll be driving along, and it'll be boom, Shake It Off by Taylor Swift playing along in the background. Loving it, driving, having a great time, and then all of a sudden it'll hit like 5 o'clock, and it'll be like boom, 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 and it's the loudest thing in the history. It scares. I actually have like a mini heart attack every single time it happens because. It's so loud. I don't get it. I have my car at like maybe 40% volume on the slider for the car, which for my music is great. It's a nice, slightly loud music playing experience. I enjoy it. For radio, apparently it's ear blisteringly destructive, right? Because it's so loud, and it's just, for whatever reason, I'll be driving along, I'll have Bluetooth set. There's two little options. There's multimedia, and then there's radio. I have it set to multimedia, listening fine. But then there's something, somewhere, a setting I have not been able to find that wants to alert me. So like I assume that the radio broadcast has like a thing that it tells something when it's like doing a traffic update. And so whenever there's a traffic update, it'll go super loud, make a super loud like intro sound for whatever the radio's like transition stinger is. And then there'll be someone talking like, on the A54 today, fire rains from the sky. It's like, I don't care. I'm nowhere near the A54. Don't even know where it is. And I don't see any fire in the sky. And then I have to quickly click radio and then click multimedia on this little thing in the center console. And it takes me back again. And it's nice. And I'm just like, the number of times that it scared me is, because sometimes it'll go hours without doing it. And then it's just like, bang.
This is shortening your life, man.
It is. I'm surprised I've not crashed. I'm honestly surprised I've not crashed.
That's all the traffic information. That there's setting must be somewhere, right? Buried in a menu somewhere.
I've spent ages looking through the settings, trying to. I've got the manual out of the glove compartment. I'm looking through the paper manual of the car, and I cannot find it.
No way. That's mental. That's such an old school feature as well. Like I remember when I was 10 years old and we'd be driving on the motorway to go somewhere in the UK, and then my mum's car, like it would just whatever was playing would just change. It would go ding 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 ding. We've got reports that there's been a multi-car pileup on the M6 and there are delays of approximately 4 to 6 hours. Also, there's a sheep found on the left underpass of the M54. And then even then when before we used sat navs and when my mum still used an A to Z map, right, to see where to go, she'd be like, "Oh, it's the traffic update again. Turn it off."
Yeah,
I don't care. I mean, so now especially.
The thing is, it's like it doesn't even pull like BBC. It's always like Heart Radio or something, and they usually like send out the signal to change while they're still mid-ad read. Like they'll be like, "This traffic report is sponsored by," and it'll be like, "Get your car sold today from Jimmy's Car Sale. Call 0404." I'm like, I don't need this. Like, why is this included in the traffic report? For one, like, why have you switched already? And two, just don't switch. I don't need it. That's the
in, man. They're someone's sending like a traffic signal out, right, to trigger the traffic people to come in so that they can advertise their sponsors. Oh no.
They're like, hey, yeah, we get 4 million impressions because we just hijack other people's sound systems and play your ads.
That's why you never heard of the A54, Isaac. It's actually in Scotland. They've just found anywhere that there's traffic and they've beamed it nationally so that they can play their ad for Jimmy's Auto Parts Ltd. Oh no. That is a thing terrible. Though. Whenever I'm like you, I never listen to the radio. It's effectively turned off, right?
Yep.
Whenever I get into my car, I plug my phone in and then I get CarPlay up and then I'll just listen to whatever. But every now and then, if someone works on my car, they will turn the radio on for themselves, right? So whenever I get it cleaned or if it's having any work done mechanically, they'll probably listen to the radio. And then I'll get into the car and it obviously remembers that the radio's just been used last. So the radio will start playing. So then I'll turn it down. I'll be like, oh, that was a bit loud. Then I'll plug my phone in, listen to whatever on my phone, set the volume, etc. But then if I don't specifically turn the radio off, next time I get into the car, before I plug my phone in, the radio will start playing again. Yeah. And even if I've set the volume to what I would deem a pretty decent, sufficient, not too loud, but not too quiet level for my phone's output, the radio will blast to my ears off.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I'll get in, I'll turn it on, and I'll be like, Wah! I'll be like, oh God. I'll be like, dashing for the volume knob.
Why is it like that? Why is radio so loud? I don't
know. I don't know. We need to have like some kind of equalizer, right? That just calms it down.
Maybe there's an untapped market there, man. Maybe we need to start selling like little replacement antennas for the roof of your car that weaken the sound of the radio waves coming in.
Right. They just absorb half of the signal that they get and just damp it off. So that the radio signals are quieter.
I just need to go take the antenna off, man. Just cut it off the roof of my car.
Maybe. To be fair, man, in my old car, I had the antenna stolen, right? Someone literally, it was not like a little thing that stuck out either, right? Like a little aerial. It was like one of those more solid shark fin style ones, right?
Sure.
Someone came and tore it off. Right, and maybe this says something about Japanese car build quality. The radio still worked perfectly. You'd look at the top and there was just exposed circuitry that had all gone grey because it had been rained on, right?
Yeah.
Because it was all exposed, wasn't covered by anything. 2 years it was like that. Fine, the radio, because I'd get in and I'd want to connect Bluetooth, but before that I did that, the radio would turn on. Completely fine. I was shocked by that. And I ended up getting the antenna change just because it looked horrible having a big gash in the top of the car.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe that's not enough, Isaac. Putting a different antenna on that takes half of the signal out, because clearly you don't need any antenna at all. It's kind of deep, underground, microwave signal that's some other thing in the car is picking up.
Well, maybe we should just sell whatever signal is being received that triggers the traffic alert, traffic news report system. Whatever little bit of extra signal is being sent there, we need to just something that cancels that out. We need
to jam it.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you get those cool devices. Someone I know has one where if your car doesn't have Bluetooth, you plug this device into your car's power outlet, cigarette lighter, whatever, to power it. And you connect your phone to Bluetooth to that device. And that device then has a very specific radio frequency.
Oh.
And then you tune your car to that radio frequency. And then all that's doing is relaying whatever it's hearing from your whatever it's receiving from your phone's Bluetooth to that radio frequency. So it effectively acts as it gives your car Bluetooth, which is really cool.
I've never heard of that. That is very interesting. Yeah.
Very clever. Very clever.
Wow.
So we need that, but it does the opposite, right? You find out what the frequency of the traffic signal is, and you tune it to that, and it will absorb that whenever a radio signal hits, and then you tune your car to something else, and it wipes it out. Yeah, exactly. There you go. All of you Chinese brands who are making these devices, do that one too. Do that one too.
Isn't it wild that for the longest time, every single car came with a cigarette lighter? That's insanity.
Right? Yeah.
I forget about it until
mine has one.
Really?
Yeah, I think mine has one, and it's 2018.
Oh.
But then my dad's is 2020, and that doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mum, we went to buy one for her yesterday, so that's 2023, and that one has no form of lighter at all, right?
Yeah.
So in my dad's, there is a little flap, but it's not a cigarette lighter. Like when you pull it out, there's no hot thing.
Well, so mine's the same. Mine's like mine's just a little flap, and there's just like the power hole, but no cigarette lighter. Mine's a 2017 as well, which is even older. But but yeah, no, nothing.
So it's interesting, yeah. And then in the one that my mum's just bought, nothing. It's not even a flap. There's just USB ports everywhere.
It's crazy how fast things move. Because I remember at the time when I got my car in 2017, people thought it was wild that my car didn't have a CD player built into it at the time. Like friends and family were like, "Oh, it doesn't have a CD player," and I'm like, "Yeah, who owns a CD?" Right? Like, when was the last time you like? And there were some people I knew that still used like they had CDs in their car that they would put into the CD player to listen to music. Which I'd not done in forever. I had Spotify since like, whenever, many years prior to getting the car. But yeah, people were like, that's crazy. And it just shows how fast things move, right? Because I feel like today, no one would blink an eye at a car that didn't have a CD player in it, right?
Exactly. I didn't even think to even look for that yesterday when we were in the Honda, right? Looking at these cars. It's just something you completely forget even exists. Like, do you remember when laptops started to come without disc players?
Oh yeah.
And I was like scandalized. I was like, oh my God, no, you can't own a laptop without a CD player. You can't buy one of them.
I remember there came a time when my mum was looking to buy like a new TV, like a flat screen TV for the wall in the living room. And she was looking at this like fairly expensive Samsung model, not like crazy expensive, but like, a premium Samsung model. And was like, it's so expensive, it doesn't have a DVD player built in. And I'm like, yeah, Mum, because no one used, and this was like 2013 or something, 2014. It was like, yeah, no one uses DVD players anymore.
Right. Yeah.
But it was, she was used to like paying more to get like a DVD player built into the TV. And
right.
It's crazy how quickly that's gone from ubiquitous to nothing, just disc media.
Right.
Just gone.
Absolutely. Effectively, like the last 12 years where it's just disappeared. It was really longer than 2023, right? This probably was phased out in the late last decade, mid to late last decade. And so really it was just in a matter of 4 to 5 years where everything went from having them to nothing having them.
Right.
And it was crazy. Because
I remember getting into so many cars and there were just CDs everywhere. People would just have so many CDs in their car and they'd be like, oh yeah, pass me the CD. I'm like, which one? And they'd be like, oh, the red one, the Beatles one, whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's just, they'd put it in. And then it was a massive thing when cars had multi-CD changes in them, and you could feed many CDs and you could choose. Like my old car had that, and you'd press like number 5 and you'd hear like the inside as it like clearly took one CD off the player head and the little spinning thing, the little motor, and then like found another one and then put that on, and it would take like 30 seconds to change CDs, right? It was clearly overcomplicated inside, and now it's just Bluetooth or connect via USB, all of the things.
My car's got, I want to say like 30 gigabytes of onboard storage where I can transfer music onto the car. And like I've never used it, but like there's an option for like onboard music, so I can like load music files onto the vehicle and just listen to them. Like if I don't have Bluetooth, I should do it so that if my phone dies, I can like not listen to the radio. But But no, I've never used it, man. It's so wild.
What I noticed is because, again, my old car didn't have onboard storage, but you could plug in a USB stick with music on it and play music from that. And what I noticed very, very clearly was the audio, like the sound quality when you plug a USB stick in and play those files
much better, right?
Way better. It sounded like a different sound system compared to Bluetooth. So if you did do that, you'd probably notice a quality difference. Yeah.
To be fair, Nick, this was 2017. I wouldn't be surprised if behind like the cover on the dash, there was just a USB stick, a 32 gig USB stick plugged in that they just purchased and stuck in there.
It's like when
Like,
navigation systems. Yeah, it's like when navigation systems first came out and it was CD based. There'd be like another CD drive, like somewhere ominous in the vehicle that had the sat nav CD maps on them. And then it'd be like, maps need updating. Please take to a dealership and get the sat nav CD changed. Or if something happened to it and it got scratched a bit, it would be like error with satellite navigation CD. Please get this swapped out.
They still do it, right? Because like I know my car manufacturer, they sell like sat nav upgrades, like updates to the sat nav system. I've never done it, so mine has not updated since 2017. And oftentimes I'll be driving, and I'll be like, take the third exit at the roundabout, and there's no roundabout. I just drive straight in a straight line, and nothing ever appears. I drive right through on the screen. It's like I've driven over the grass in the middle and just gone straight
You're in a
river. But yeah, they like I wish they would just like. I don't know why they sell it. Like, I get why they sell it because it's money, right? But like, just make it like a downloadable thing that I can stick on a USB stick and just put into my car to update the sat nav, right? Like, why does it? It seems crazy. Or like, at least put it in when I go for a service. Like I could take my car in for a service at the dealership. Like I go for a manufacturer service every year. Like you think it should be included, right?
Right.
Instead of being like, no, it's gonna be you're gonna pay extra to get the new maps.
Yeah.
But I hope you don't crash.
Exactly. Yeah, but I hope you don't end up in a river. Oh, you don't take the third exit at a normal crossroad junction. And it's funny because we've gone from we've like skipped the whole update it from a USB stick phase, right? We've gone from take it to the dealership and pay to, oh, don't worry, if your car's connected to your home Wi-Fi when you park up, we'll just do it over the air, right?
Yeah.
We've skipped a whole segment of technology, I think, because some new manufacturers came in and did it like that, and everyone else were like, oh my God, yes, we need to do this on over the air.
I assumed it was probably deemed too advanced to have users use their own USB sticks.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I imagine the vast majority of people are going to be like, I don't understand. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen, right?
No. It would have been nice if they did it like that, but then the dealers, it was best practice for the dealers to update it. Yeah. And the dealers then got the file on USB and plugged it in and updated it.
That's because that's all they do, right?
That is all they do, right? Pop CD out, 350 quid.
Tech. Yeah, right.
It is funny because I do watch a lot of car videos on YouTube and seeing some of the really old stuff come into like workshops, and they'll be like, so if you've got like a 2003 Lamborghini, right? There's like a very specific like laptop from HP that just had Windows XP on it, but it was the Lamborghini service laptop, right? That had like just the proprietary software that could interface with this car, but you need the Lamborghini laptop, and it's like 10 grand, right?
Yeah.
Because you could only get it from the service centers, and they just sold those on the internet or whatever, but they're like rare and uncommon, but you need this specific laptop it's got a COM port on it, and you plug in the COM port and you plug that into the car and it's the only thing that can diagnose any issues with these vehicles. So it is interesting the way it's gate capped, right?
Yeah, right. I do wonder though if cars are going to go the way of that phones did, right? Because I was watching a video recently, and like, as little as like 10 years ago, but more between like 2000 and 2010, there was so much variety in the number of phones that were made, right? Mm-hmm. In terms of like shape and size, and there'd be like proprietary chargers, and there'd be different software, and things would flip out and move in different ways, and there'd be so much stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's all the same, right? Every single phone it's just a rectangle with a glass screen, and that's it, right? There's no buttons on the front of it. It's a power button, a volume buttons, and that's it, right? All the phones look the same. They all charge mostly with the same charger. People are going to be using the USB Type-C as of this year,
soon,
I think, right?
Supposedly, yeah.
Like the EU have made them. And so I do wonder if that's because you see a lot of that with cars, right? There's so much over-engineering for the sake of it, right? There's so much just like proprietary stuff and random junk, and there's just so much that is proprietary that's unnecessarily proprietary. And I wonder if that's going to change. I wonder if you're going to see more. I assume you kind of already do, because like most people that are not Tesla have agreed on like a standard for charging, right? It's like the charging port is like universal.
Well, in the UK, even Tesla used the same port. It's same
really?
for because they actually mandated that, which is great. because no matter what you've got, same charging port. So, and that is really good. That's a great example. What they need to do next is the chargers, right?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I assume right now it's only Teslas that can use the superchargers in the UK, right?
So this is interesting. So my dad's got a Tesla, so I drive it every now and then, and I'm the designated driver on family trips and stuff. So we noticed recently that there were other cars parked at the Superchargers, right? I saw a Volkswagen electric car there. I saw something else there. Turns out they are actually allowing other cars to now charge at Superchargers.
Oh.
If all you have to do is, if you download I assume it's the Tesla app, and you create an account, you can then use Superchargers for your non-Tesla vehicle, which is great because I don't have much experience not using Tesla Superchargers outside of the entire Tesla ecosystem, right? So I've never driven an electric car that isn't a Tesla, but I have tried to charge a Tesla at non-Tesla Superchargers. So I went on a big road trip a couple years ago with my friends, and I took this car to see how it would do, almost like an experiment, to see how it would do on longer road trips. And we went down to the south coast of the UK, and there was no Superchargers when we were actually down there. And we were doing quite a lot of driving within the area we were in, right? So I had to find a charger in that area. So I found a charger from some company, and so turned up to the spot. So there's loads of different companies, right, that have these public charging stations. There's one called Ionity. I think there's one called Pod Point, I want to say. There's loads, right? And every single one of them, different. You need an account. Right? You need an account specific to those chargers. There's starting to be some rumblings now because so many people are getting electric cars where they just let you use a contactless card.
You'd
right?
think so, man.
Right.
Do it like petrol, right? Just like pick a predetermined amount, pay for that amount ahead of time, and then just charge until keep giving the electricity until you've used that amount, right?
Exactly. So I had to make this account. We were there outside, and I was making this account. It didn't work the first time because it's like, which location are you? What code is on the charger? And then it was like, okay, plug vehicle in. And then I tapped the button after I plugged it in that confirmed that I plugged it in. It was like, cannot find vehicle. Try again. Tried it again. Cannot charge vehicle. Tried it again. Eventually we got it working, right? But we were faffing around for like 25 minutes to get this thing charged. Now, if you actually go to a Tesla supercharger, you actually just you literally take the thing off the stand and you plug it in, and the charger then knows which car you plugged it into. The car knows which charger you plugged it into, and you then take the plug out once you've finished charging, and it charges your account automatically, right? It's really seamless. Here, you've got to do it. You've got to put your details in. You've got to do it ahead of time, which fair enough. You do have to do with Teslas too, but you had to like specify where exactly you were, right? Because obviously the ecosystem isn't as integrated.
I assume the only problem with the Tesla setup is that like, if it's your dad's car you're driving, he's the one charged every time for the the electricity, right? Yeah, so it's just difficult in terms of like having somebody else pay for it.
Yes, that is a valid point. So that was
surprised that because doesn't Tesla have like the whole thing where you can like you can scan in and it'll like adjust the seat to you, the person, like you, Nick.
Yeah, so if I go and open the driver's door, because your phone acts as the key, whoever's phone is closest to the driver's door has that pre-assigned profile. So if I open the driver's door, it will change the seat position and the driving settings, so what level the regen braking is at, as well as temperature, stuff like that, to whatever I had it set at last.
But then but it always charges just the one like card for fuel, or is it like whoever was most recently signed in? Like if
I
you
honestly don't know.
Because I assume you have a different Tesla account to your dad's Tesla account, right? Or is it like not a Tesla account thing? It's just like a user profile on an account.
So we've just got the one account. So I'm signed into my dad's account. But if I go to the account settings and I go to wallet, I have a feeling that, so I think I can add more cards here.
Yeah.
And I think if I did that, maybe I would be able to pay. Right. Not going to lie, every time I have gone to charge that car, I have just used it as an excuse to not have to pay for electricity. So I've not really questioned it.
Yeah. Not looking into that one too much.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So I've had this experience and it was really annoying. And then I also tried to charge this same car once at work, and they used a different charging setup in the office that I used to work at. And that just wouldn't charge the car, right?
Yeah.
You plug it in and it was like error. Try a different charging station, error. So it's just really fragmented. So I think it's good that Tesla's opening this up to other vehicles, but I do not know if then the opposite problem would occur where other cars would have difficulties charging at superchargers. And it's this big infrastructure problem where there's not enough regulation. The price per kilowatt is absolutely ridiculous, and you're actually better off with a fuel-based vehicle when you're charging at public chargers. The only solid use case for electric vehicles right now that most people agree with is it's only really truly viable if you have a charging station at home and your commute is below a certain threshold, right?
Yeah, not 300 miles.
Exactly. And you don't do tons of business or motorway mileage, and you're not
in the
charging
snow,
at public stations all the time. Exactly.
Sure. I hate. I know we complain about things constantly. I dislike there are these times when companies try and get smart. They try and make things smart, and they just do such a bad job of it all the time. And it's like with the charging story you just told me, man. I cannot count the number of times that I have had that exact same experience with parking. You try to park somewhere. I do not carry cash on me, right? At all. I carry no coins, which is my own fault, I guess. But you go to a car parking setup, and they've got a machine that takes coins, doesn't take card, who knows why, but they'll have like a website, and you'll go to the website, and it'll be like, create an account. And I'm like, I don't want to create an account. And then you've got to like sign in, and then you don't have your password because the password needs to be 18 characters long. It needs to contain at least 3 lowercase v's. And then once you finally manage to reset your password, you can get in, and then it's like, what location are you at? I'm at this location. What car do you drive? I drive this car. Is it this right? Yes, this is right. How long do you want to stay for? And then the options are bizarre, and for some reason it costs more than the what it says on the sign. Like, it costs like double to pay via the website, despite the fact that I've spent 40 minutes signing up for this thing. And it's just, and also the websites are always the slowest websites in the universe. They're like, hey, download the app, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to download the pay to park Aura's app that has 3 reviews on the Play Store. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just use your website. And you click something on the website, and it's like, error, please try again. And you go back, and it's like, okay, and you get right to the end, and you put your card details in, and you click pay, and it goes, error, please try again. It takes you right back to the beginning. It's like, what card do you have? And I'm like, it makes me want to pull my eyes out, man. It is horrendous. It's so bad. I don't know why it's so bad everywhere. And there's like 9 of them that are all terrible.
It's this one company, right, that do a lot of these parking meters, and then they're all terrible. What I do is if I'm going to park somewhere, if I know where I'm going, I will go on Street View and I will look at the car park and I will zoom into the machines to see if they take cards. And if they don't, I'm not parking there. There's only been one experience. I think I was at a university. There's only one experience I've had there's only one good experience I've had paying for parking on an app, right? And I went to this car park, parked up. The machine didn't take coins. And we looked at the instructions on the side of the machine, and I was like, okay, it was like, download this app, right? So I went on the App Store, and it was, I think, the only app I've ever come across where you were able to download an app clip. I don't know if you've even heard of this. It was a feature that was introduced for iPhones a few years ago, where if you need to download an app, but you literally only need it there and then, you can temporarily open the app from the App Store almost. Yeah. So if you want, you can press a little thing and it will effectively download the app into memory, open it, you can do what you need in it, and then
it goes
that's
away.
it doesn't actually download on your phone. And I was like, oh my God, I remember seeing this in a iOS update like 4 years ago, as if this is actually a thing. And then I did it, and it was very smooth. I'll give props to that. Whatever parking company did that specific one. And then
they
it was
probably
never
went
on
out
my
of business
phone.
with all the money they spent developing that,
Right.
implementing
exactly.
that.
That's it. Honestly, just put the bloody card machine in the thing, right?
The good news is I'm seeing more of that. More and more now I go and there's just a contactless reader, which is great.
Exactly. There's reduced risk of theft as well, isn't there, with those?
There is. I think the downside is it just like as those become more commonplace, parking just gets more expensive because then you got to add Visa or MasterCard take a cut, and then there's like processing fees, and it's all more expensive, right, than just having coins. But like bizarrely, Nick, I have found for me the easiest way to get parking is just to use the phone number to call. There's like oftentimes it'll be like you can either pay with coins, you can download the app, or you can call a number. And like being the boomer that I am, calling the number, you talk to a robot, you don't talk to a human. Calling the number is by far the easiest way to do it. From what I've found. Yeah. Because you call them up and they're like, hey, what's your license number? And you just say it and the machine gets it somehow. And then they ask for the code of the area. Yep. And then how many hours? And you just say how many hours. And then they're like, cool. And then you pay with your card over the phone. And it's surprisingly, somehow, it's been the easiest way that I've managed to actually get parking to work.
Okay. That's some premium advice, actually. Ringing the number is the last thing I would have done, right? Looking at that,
they could have driven away to a cash machine 15 miles away, got the cash out, and driven back.
Yeah, exactly. Before I called anyone, but that's so interesting.
You never talk to a human; it's always a robot.
Of course,
just asks you for the code, and you can just type it in on the phone.
Oh, okay. That is. I will keep that in mind. Next time I fail to case the joint before I actually drive there, and I end up in a car park with a coins only machine, and I can't go anywhere else, I'll do that.
Yeah, it's tricky because like oftentimes you'll plan to park somewhere, but then it's full and you've got to go park somewhere else, and so you go park somewhere else, and the parking setup is not right, and it's just terrible.
It's a pain in the arse, isn't it?
It's just terrible. Yeah. Hopefully, it's a problem of the past eventually, and it's not something you have to worry about. But
exactly,
I imagine with the advent of smarter and smarter cars, there'll be some kind of system where they can just, you would think there'll be some kind of system where they just scan your license plate as they go in, and then it just charges the account link to your car or something like that. You know what I mean? Like universally, but who knows? We've gone too long, man. This is a food podcast. You got any food topics?
I do have some food topics, Isaac. So I recently tried out the Feastables chocolate bars, which are Mr. Beast's chocolate brand. Yeah, Feastables. Give it a Google. So apparently a few months ago, Mr. Beast released some chocolate bars and snacks and stuff, right? I think there's been this whole saga against his burger joints.
Yeah.
And he's basically trying to shut down his burger joint because the whole thing was effectively powered by ghost kitchens, and the quality variance was too high, and people were getting raw burgers and stuff like that, and it was just too much of a hassle to keep up with regulations and safety standards and stuff like that. So instead of decentralizing all of your food manufacturing, instead, if you make something centrally and then distribute it out to the world in the form of a food that isn't fresh, then that's probably the better thing to do. So I was in a spa of all places. I don't know what it is about spas, right?
Like you were getting spa treatment, or
I was in the supermarket chain Spar, SPAR, right?
Yeah. Okay. Good for the clarification there. Yes.
The little red tree. Also for people who don't have spas in their countries, that will also be useful for them. So.
It's like a 7-Eleven kind of situation, right?
Exactly. You see them in all kinds of random places. I think they're I want to say Dutch or Danish.
Yeah. I see them all the time. There's one in a 20-mile radius around me, but then you go to mainland Europe and they're everywhere. You see so many more of them.
Yeah, so that would check out. So I was there. They seem to have all of the influencer merch food items.
Sure,
Prime as well. Prime, remember when Prime was a massive fad and everyone was trying to get Prime? I was just in a spa once and there was bottles of them everywhere, and I was like, I swear this thing has been out of stock in the whole country, and there's just a wall of them here. So I tried one and it was distinctively average, and it was £3 as well, which was annoying. But I was in one the other day and I noticed this little stand and it said, Mr. Beast, chocolate bars, Feastables. So I was like, oh, I've heard of these because one of my friends told me about them. So I was like, I'm here. For science, I might as well try one. First of all, very thin chocolate bars, right? The size of like a normal standard sharing bar of chocolate, but very thin. £2.50, man. Honestly,
He's got to make that money somehow, man.
He does. I could believe it. I was like, Jesus, that's expensive. And I had a look and they had all different flavors, right? So they had, like, let's say cookies and cream style flavor or something similar to that. And then I believe they had a white chocolate or a dark chocolate. And then they had just chocolate, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that would be like milk chocolate, whatever. I'll buy that one. So I picked it up, scanned it, paid my money, then turned around to leave and noticed there was a fourth flavor available that was milk chocolate, right?
Oh.
And I was like, wait, hold on a second. If that's milk chocolate and then they've got white chocolate and dark chocolate, then what have I got in my hands? That is simply just chocolate right? And it was like, I think the whole USP of this chocolate brand is that there's not many ingredients in them. It was like only 4 ingredients, right? And it was, cocoa mass and sugar and whatever else, right? So I think that's their whole thing is that they've used it's not full of preservatives or anything like that. Right. So I got home and I was like, okay. And I tried it and I was like, this is fine. Yeah. Like, it's like, in some shops when you were a kid, you get like chocolate lollipops, right? It was that kind of chocolate, right? And it also reminded me of chocolate that I've had in America, which I really have not enjoyed that much. Sure. America has a whole stigma of not having great chocolate, right? But then I was thinking after, I was like, I'm kind of curious now as to what chocolate, like I was surprised that chocolate exists as non-milk chocolate, but isn't dark chocolate and isn't white chocolate, right? So then I went back to this spa and I bought the milk chocolate one. So the Mr. Beast Corporation has received £5 in revenue and minus whatever Spa's cut was, right? From myself. And I tried the milk chocolate one and I was like, but this actually tastes of the chocolate lollipops that I had as a child. Like, this is like, tastes like, again, fairly average milk chocolate. It was nice, especially considering that it was, only 5 ingredients. They'd added the milk as their 5th ingredient of this milk chocolate bar.
You think it was worth the money though, or you think it was...
No.
You wouldn't buy it again?
No. As a child, if I was a fan of Mr. Beast, I would buy it. Great. But man, you can get like premium chocolate for that kind of price range, right?
Like, so a standard Cadbury's dairy milk sharing bar, which is 200 grams, which is it's 180 grams, which is triple the 60 grams of a Mr. Beast bar, is also £2. Same price, triple the chocolate. Go. Yeah. And then like Asda's own milk chocolate is £1.20 for the same triple size. So
yeah. So he's charging, right? And I wonder what Lindt would be, right, for like the equivalent of 60 grams. Like, it would probably be fairly evenly matched.
I think they charge like, I want to say like £2.5 at my supermarket for like a 100 gram bar. So
right, so still right, still
almost double
cheaper
the weight
by weight. Yeah, exactly. So I thought definitely not worth it, but good that I tried. But it really got me thinking, right, about chocolate flavored chocolate, if that makes sense. Because in the UK, regular chocolate is always milk chocolate, right? Usually, chocolate and milk chocolate is synonymous. Yes. So my mind was kind of opened to non-milk chocolate that isn't dark chocolate, right? Because we don't really see that in the UK, I don't think. But then maybe what's the idea there? Because like usually with dark chocolate, there's like a scale, right? And it'll be like, oh, the lower end is maybe like 60% dark, and then it goes all the way up to like 95% dark, right? Yeah.
In terms of like its cocoa content or whatever. But so I don't know at what point is that different to non-milk
chocolate.
Non-milk, non-dark chocolate, right?
And I've always thought that dark chocolate would be, let's say 70% cocoa, right? I still thought there was some milk in those chocolates.
I don't think there's any milk in dark chocolate.
Right. So this is it. So this is this chocolate bar that I bought by accident, thinking it was milk chocolate, was effectively a dark chocolate bar that wasn't dark, right?
Yeah.
And it was terrible. There's still half of it left, and it's like 2 weeks old. So that was a very interesting experience that I had recently. I thought I'd give it a mention because it just got my brain. So as a Brit, where we have very nice chocolate generally in the country for, not majorly expensive prices, as Isaac has just discussed. I was so new to the concept of chocolate with a lower cocoa content that didn't have any milk in. And then that made me wonder, is that why we think American chocolate is bad? Because American chocolate happens to just not have milk in it, right?
Right.
Maybe. I want to know, people. You gotta leave a comment. Americans, tell us.
Let us know.
Okay? Let us know. And let us know in our Discord as well. Available to join at... Insert URL here.
By the time this goes out, you should be able to join at discord.whybut.co.
Oh, yes, that is it, actually. Yeah. I was thinking of a Discord GG/, but that is correct, isn't it?
Discord.whybut.co. The URL will be on the screen, or if you're not watching, if you're just listening, it'll be in the the show notes or the
excellent
or something. Yeah.
Excellent. Yes, let us know, because because American chocolate is famous for being bad, and I think maybe that's why, because it's just not dark chocolate, so it's lower cocoa mass chocolate that just doesn't have any milk in, and maybe British chocolate is good, or European chocolate is good because it's got milk in, unless it's dark.
Yes.
I don't know. I should have done more research on this. All I did was try chocolate and was like, this tastes kind of sus.
we need to expand out our chocolate trying abilities.
So McDonald's in the UK have recently done a summer special kind of deal where there's some new dips available for the chicken nuggets, right?
Yeah.
And various other things. And there's two that I think there's 3 new dips.
I think they've done this weird thing where they've staggered it, right? Like they released like 2 dips once, then there was like for like a few weeks, then there was another 2 dips or something, I think.
So
this isn't a food podcast, by the way.
This isn't I promise this isn't a food
Not
podcast.
A food podcast.
It's the last food bit, okay? And probably also the last bit.
Ever. We're never going to talk about food again after this.
Exactly. Promise-ish.
Asterisk. Look at the bottom of the scroll to the bottom of the email to find out where we
email with a very small text. Yeah, exactly. So you have to wait till Monday, 2029, for that to take place. So there's like a garlic mayo one, there's a chipotle mayo one, and then the other one I saw was like a super spicy one, right?
Mm-hmm. There's a ranch one as well, I believe.
Okay. So I was wondering which the fourth one was, so that would make sense. So I really wanted to try these dips, right? I was like, I saw a big advert for them on a billboard of all things, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I kind of want to try that. I eat chicken nuggets every now and then from McDonald's. It'd be nice to have a difference from the 4X ketchup that I always get. So I always order them like ketchup.
I don't know how you feel about it, man. I feel like ketchup at McDonald's is garbage. I don't think their ketchup is good at all.
It's terrible.
It's so bad.
It's so bad, but I just a ketchup fiend, man. I just fiend it. It's actively too tangy, right?
I think I've talked about it. It's so like acidic, yeah. I think I mentioned it before that like if I get, I don't order chicken nuggets at McDonald's very often, but if I do, they'll be like, what dips do you want with that? I'll be like, no dips, please. And I just don't get dips. Because I don't think any of the McDonald's dips are good. Oh, I'll just eat them raw, man.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Like
not raw, but you know what we mean.
No, raw.
Raw, out the freezer. So I was like, cool, I'll try these, right? I wasn't very passionate about the fact that they had these, but I was like, oh, next time I go to McDonald's, I'll try them. So I was in a retail park doing some shopping, and there was a McDonald's there, and I was like, oh, cool. I'm a bit hungry. I'll go and get some nuggets. I'll try these new dips. Went in, used the big touch screen to order my food, added my nuggets, dips section, all of these options.
Yeah.
Garlic mayo, chipotle mayo, unavailable. I was like, damn it. I feel like I don't even want anything now.
Yeah.
But I did get a few nuggets and then I left and I ate them, right? And I was like, whatever, next time. About a week rolls around, right? A week later. Different McDonald's. Go in, order my food. I was like, oh, I'll try those nuggets and dips, right? Big screen, order my food. Dips, selectable this time, right? So I select, I believe, 2 of each, 2 of the garlic mayo ones, 2 of the Chipotle mayo ones. Receive my food. I'm like, thank you. Walk to my table, open it up. Random dips in there.
Yep.
So barbecue, ketchup, whatever. I was like, oh. So I actually went up and I was like, hey, I think I've got the wrong sauces. Do you have any of these ones, these garlic mayo and Chipotle mayo ones? Sorry, we're out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, right. Whatever. So they clearly had not updated the system to say they'd run out. They were just substituting people's orders with other dips. So I ate them, whatever. Another week rolls around. Ordered on delivery, right? McDonald's delivery. Nuggets, dips. Okay. Delivery comes. Nuggets were there. No dips at all. Nothing. Right? I was like, for God's sake. So I did it U-style. I just had some nuggets. I had some ketchup in the fridge. And I had some of those. Very annoyed. Next time, this is an ongoing thing, man. Next time rolls around. Now we're going to last Sunday. Go to a different McDonald's. I was with a couple other people. I was like, guys, I really need to try these dips. I think they're still available. I think they're being switched out at some point in August, right? Go to the screen. Select my nuggets. Dips. Unavailable. So at this point, I just gave up, right? So it's just so elusive.
You've not tried them?
I've not tried them. And then I had my friends in London sending me videos of them ordering like 12 dips of these special dips on the machine and getting them.
It's an interesting point you make there, man, because I have tried, I think, 2 of these 4 dips, right? Mm-hmm. And I've had McDonald's maybe twice in the last like 2 months. Right?
Yeah, I've gained weight, man. I tried to look for these dips.
So I think I ordered like the day after they started this. They had like garlic mayo and something else, right?
Sure.
And so I went to go get the garlic mayo, and I ordered on a delivery app, and I didn't order chicken nuggets, but they had the option for the dip as just a purchase, but it was free, no money, like £0, 0 pence, which is surprising because they normally sell. So normally they sell the bigger dips they do, like sweet chili and sour cream or whatever, but they don't sell like the ketchup and barbecue and sweet curry or whatever. They don't sell the smaller dips that you get for free in store on the delivery website. You just can't order them unless you get like nuggets, right? So for whatever reason, you know, we ordered like cheeseburgers or whatever and chips, fries, and they had just the option for like garlic mayo free. And so I, being a bit cheeky, added like 13 to my cart.
Nice.
And I was like, it says they're free. Let's see how many they'll send.
Yeah, right. Test it.
And they didn't send 13. They sent 2 for free in the bank. I like to, somebody at McDonald's looked at that and was like, no, we're not giving you.
Otherwise, I'd see if they adhered to that, then someone like me would turn up afterwards, right? They'd be out.
But so I was quite looking forward to this, man, because I don't know if you tried the mayo at Five Guys with their fries.
Yes, and I only...
Go on.
Yeah, I only learned recently that the Five Guys mayo, which is Heinz mayo, is like a specific recipe to Five Guys. Yeah, Nick, and it's really nice.
It's so good. It's such a good mayo. I love dipping the fries at Five Guys, or the chips at Five Guys, into the Five Guys mayo, right? Really tasty. Love it. Fantastic. One of the best parts of going to Five Guys.
Yeah.
Go to... So I ordered this garlic mayo. McDonald's don't do mayo normally. Like, you can't order just mayo from McDonald's. Like, they don't have a mayo sauce or dip or anything like that, which is odd. Most of the places do, right? You go to Burger King, I think you can get, like, mayo. Anyway, I get it. I don't think it's very good. You're not missing out. The garlic mayo, I had it with the fries, kind of bad.
That makes me feel better.
I think I might have tried dunking a nugget in it. Not good, you know.
Sure.
Not really tasty. Wouldn't get it again. Didn't finish the first pot. And then a few weeks later go by, we ordered again. This time they had ranch available, you know. And so I did the same thing again. I put like 14, like give me as many as you'll give me. And they gave me like 2 again. But I got the ranch this time. Again, not good, man. I thought it was bad. I didn't like it. Yeah, again, the ranch is like supposed to be like a herby mayo or something. I just don't think McDonald's have got the mayo down, you know? I don't know what it is, like with their sauces. I didn't manage to try the Chipotle or whatever else they had. But the two that I tried, the two like mayo-based sauces, were not it for me, man. Would not recommend, would not purchase. Don't think you missed out.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better. Five Guys Mayo is great. That makes me feel a lot better. Honestly, when you mentioned before we recorded this that you have tried them, I was hoping you'd say that, because then that makes me feel a lot better. Okay, that's very good. That's very good. I do wonder how the Chipotle one would have tasted, but if it's anything like the other mayo-based ones that you're on about, then they probably aren't as good either. And you do make a good point, right? McDonald's dips generally aren't great. Like even their barbecue's all right, but their sweet curry one is too artificial tasting. Some people love it, but I don't at all.
See, I don't like any of the free dips. I think the bigger barbecue that you can get, like the premium one they sell, is quite nice. Like if you get it with the chicken selects, I think it is. That one I think is quite tasty. I think their bigger dips are quite good. The free ones, they give out, man, they are horrible. Like again, the barbecue one I think is just like too acidic. I don't know what they're doing with it, but it's just not good. It is not. They used to sell Heinz. They used to give you Heinz ketchup in little packets, but they don't.
Clearly too expensive.
I mean, obviously, Five Guys, you're paying like 8 times as much for a burger at Five Guys as you are at McDonald's. But they've just got the mayo on pump. You just go and pump your own, and you get as much of it as you like, man.
Yeah,
and Heinz ketchup.
It's good. It is very good. Were you able to try the chocolate pie?
Oh, I have tried the chocolate pie.
Yeah, I tried it. So when I went last week, that is one thing that I did remember to get.
First things first, man. The apple pie at McDonald's. Thoughts?
I've probably not had one in like 10 years, but they are nice. I think they're good. They're really hot when you get them, but I rate it. It's a good item.
If you get them fresh out of the oven, they are steaming hot. I think the apple pie at McDonald's might be the best dessert they sell, personally. I really like it. Yeah. Right? I think it's good. I usually don't get a McFlurry. I usually don't get an apple pie, but sometimes I will. And it's, I like them. I think the apple pies are good. What did you think of the chocolate pie, man?
So, I got this chocolate pie. I was sharing it,
which is it's just like it's like a crispy chocolate pastry for those who don't know. That is like the apple pie pastry, but then it's just full of like a chocolate ganache kind of filling.
Exactly. So we got it, and I looked at it and I picked it up and I was like, "This is a lot crustier than I expected it to be." When they said chocolate pie, I was expecting it to be softer, but then I was like, "This is legitimately the apple pie crust." Yep. But brown, right?
Yep.
It was crispy. And I took a bite into it and there was this like crunch, right? And I was like, oh, okay. I again wasn't expecting that, but maybe I should have been, because it is like the apple pie.
Yeah.
And then this chocolate ganache sauce in the middle I thought it tasted okay.
Yeah.
It tasted like a shop bought dessert, but the texture was really, I don't know how to explain. It's very gelatinous. Yeah. It was one of those. Man. No, it was one of those where we were like, glad we tried it. Don't care that it's like a special, that it won't exist in like a few weeks. But it was one of those. So it was fine, right? The apple pie is better, even though I had it so many years ago. It was definitely a better item.
I was not a fan of the chocolate pie. It was particularly good.
See, the specials, man, not hitting this summer.
Speaking of Five Guys, though, man, I went to a shopping center a few days ago, and it was heaving. It was so busy, right?
Right.
And we were contemplating going in, like sitting down. They had like a big, area with a ton of restaurants. We were contemplating sitting down to eat somewhere, and we were like, let's just get Five Guys, right? Five Guys is expensive. But sitting down to eat's gonna be more expensive, right? So we're like, let's just go to Five Guys, a middle ground. Five Guys is tasty. We don't have a Five Guys near us, so we don't get to have it that often, right? Let's do Five Guys. And it was so busy, man. I'm like, the people, I would not want to work there. They were firing out burgers at a staggering. There must have been over 100 people.
Wow.
Crowded in this Five Guys, between people sat down and people queuing and then people waiting for their order. And like a guy would come over like every minute with like 5 bags. He'd wait, bring 5 bags over and be like, 68, 69, and be handing these bags out like no one's business. God. Man, look at this. Look at this. I'm sending you a picture here, and if you could describe the burger that I got, you can tell the speed at which they were working by the image that I'm about to send you, Nick.
Oh,
of the Five Guys burger that I received when I opened my.
It looks like Isaac got it delivered and didn't get it in a restaurant, and the driver took the burger in its foil out of the bag opened it, dropped it onto the road, and then tried to cobble it back together. I'm seeing patty, cheese, onions that aren't diced uniformly everywhere.
Yeah.
Then, like, half of a smushed patty kind of placed diagonally to the left of the burger patty, tomato on top, lettuce everywhere, and then top burger patty, then further diagonally to the left of everything else. It's like a leaning tower of burger that it's like it's been assembled sideways.
You wouldn't believe how much. So I got fresh onion on there. You wouldn't believe how much fresh onion was under the burger. Staggering amount of onion, like they just thrown a handful of onion at the burger.
Looks like the bacon's under it as well.
And there's supposed to be jalapenos on there, man. There are some. They're just buried on like the left side, right at the bottom. There's like 3 of them.
Oh my god!
It was
that is wild.
That was the speed at which they were throwing these burgers together.
Oh my god!
In the Five Guys that I went to, it was something, man.
That is incredible. That is, for the price that they charge, that is really bad.
It is terrible. Yeah,
that's terrible.
They charge like £12 for that burger,
right? Yeah, no, that's really bad. That's pretty bad. The other burger in that picture actually looks like it's been assembled somewhat properly.
Yeah.
So I think you got unlucky there. The most bizarre Five Guys experience I've ever had was I got a delivery a few months ago. And 2 of us had ordered them, and this thing got delivered. And we, took the burgers out the bag. Very excited to eat these burgers. And I opened mine, and I was like, yo, something's off here. It's really weird. And I couldn't pin what was wrong with this. And then I showed it to my girlfriend who I was with, and she was like, you've got 2 bottom buns, right?
Oh.
So I had 2 bottom burger buns, right? And I was like, oh yeah, that is it. There's no sesame seeds, right? I was like, this is bizarre. I was like, it's really weird. So I took a photo of it and I sent it to whatever app I'd used to purchase it. And I was like, something's up here. I actually got a refund for it, which was great, which was, all good. And then I ate it and it was fine, right? In parallel, my girlfriend then opened her burger and then she just started like pissing herself laughing. And I was like, what? She lifts it up. 2 top buns, course, 2 sesame seeded buns, right? It was so bizarre. We were like, this must be some form of deliberate joke. There's no way someone could have 2 burgers that they're assembling next to each other and they wouldn't pick up that mistake, right? Yeah. They'd be like, what is going on there? It was really funny.
I imagine somebody at the Five Guys is just having fun with it, right?
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, it didn't affect the eating experience at all. The burgers were still very tasty. But no, that was something that made us chuckle a lot. It was really weird. But yeah.
If you're watching this, don't worry. That second food topic at the end there wasn't actually a food topic. That was part of the initial McDonald's food topic.
Exactly.
When we said we wouldn't talk about food again, this was,
No, we mean from now on Monday in July/August 2029. That concludes 2029. Oh dear, and that concludes the end of the food podcast.
It does. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to this podcast. Nick and I'll be back next week to discuss what we've been up to. And in the meantime, if you want to tell us what you've been up to, you can visit Discord via the link in the description or via the link in the show notes below, or via discord.whybut.co, and you can let us know what you've been up to there. You can also tweet us at WHYBUT Podcast on Twitter, something like that. Again, that'll be in the show notes / description as well. And if you enjoyed it, thank you for listening. And if you didn't enjoy it, also thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with yet more of what we've been up to. Until then, thank you for listening, and have a great day.